Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm super excited to be joined by a guest expert today, Tori, who is essentially a marketing expert and passive income expert for online business owners. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This is actually my first ever podcast.
It makes me so happy, and and literally I'm so excited. I was saying just offline before we started chatting that I've already been like stalking Tori a little bit online, because inevitably when I bring on a guest, that they always like negate all of their like massive accomplishments and really downplay their success, and I'm always like intrigued what I can pull out and things. But I'm really excited to speak with you because I think we're super aligned in terms of our value and our commitment and work ethic and bigger picture mission and all of the things. So I can't wait to dive into it. So thank you. So I always like to kind of jump in initially. So obviously if you want to share with the women like an actual like official intro to your journey to entrepreneurship, that would be really exciting, because I just love like how we all kind of just find our own ways and really, you know, just bring something unique to the table as to how we even do this thing called entrepreneurship. So what is your journey?
Amazing. So it was kind of an accident. So basically, I always wanted my own business, but I failed all of my GCSEs bar one at school. So like never went to college, never went to uni. So like, I mean, on paper, I looked like a complete failure. So that was instantly like a block. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Like, how could people look up to me, trust me, whatever? And then COVID happened. We all remember that. And I had loads of friends that had their own businesses. One in particular was like a wedding hairstylist, which rightly so panicked. Like, oh my God, my business is going to go under. And I had more free time. I was working a full-time job, but obviously weekends and after then I was like, I've got nothing to do. So it's like, you know, I help you with your social media. So we were like trying new things. And I was helping a few other friends as well. And even though she was a wedding hairstylist that couldn't work, like wasn't allowed, we still got her fully booked for like 2 years, because we were snapping up all of the dates where everyone was cancelling their weddings, pushing them back. Like we were getting all of those bookings, so she was securing deposits. We also she was getting like brand collaborations, like promoting products, everything, and she started making more money than what she was doing before. So I was kind of like, maybe I can do this. And then that's like what inspired me to start. And also during COVID, my partner lost his job. It was a brand new job. He'd only been doing it for like 2 months, so he didn't get a redundancy pay. And we'd literally just emptied our savings on him to do a plumbing course. It was like $5,000 that he couldn't even take because of COVID. So we had nothing left in our savings. We went down in income. A story for another day. His car also got blown up down the road. Yeah, trouble. So we were in like a really shit position, like massively. And that like definitely gave me the kick up the bum even more. Like I remember thinking I felt so out of control of my life, like everybody, couldn't see family, couldn't see friends, didn't like my job, didn't have enough money, was worried about paying the bills. And I was like, I'm 25 years old. I can't do this the rest of my life. Like, what is this? Like, I never, ever, ever want to feel like this, be in this position like ever again. And that was really like the driving force for me, and supporting people that were like me in that situation, didn't have loads of money to get started, didn't have, you know, loads of time because they were working full-time jobs. So ultimately that was what became my mission, was supporting people who maybe didn't have the best start in life or were in like really bad situations and needed support without paying, you know, tens of thousands for it. So that's how it all kind of came together.
Oh my God, I love that. I love so much of what you've just said, because I think, firstly, there aren't many women who are like, I was just a born entrepreneur. Like, I've always had this air of like confidence and all the things. It typically comes from a place of necessity. Like, that's my experience. And when like the shit hits the fan, that's when you really see what you're made of. And the universe always knows best, right? So even when we're trying to negate these things, I had exactly the same journey as you, in the sense that, you know, I kind of always knew, like, I worked 3 jobs, I did all the things, I hustled for money, but I always knew that there's got to be an easier way, right? Like, there's got to be an easier way. And yeah, I didn't have that confidence to like quit my job and like burn the boats on the bridge, or whatever, or on the beach, or whatever the saying is. And I, you know, same as you, didn't have the best start, couldn't go to college, like I didn't even live at home at like 14. So it was very much like, what can I do? I can just outwork everybody. And I had like 3 jobs right up until when I was 6 months pregnant with my first daughter. Like, I couldn't let it go, because the online space wasn't a thing. You know, it was literally like, how much more of yourself can you get out there and working? But like, the universe always knows best. So it wasn't until like my mum basically was I was a single parent, 3 kids. My mum was my main childcare giver, and she passed like, sorry, she had a stroke, so she couldn't have kids. And it was like, done. My whole corporate career done in like one visit to my mum's. And it was like, shit, what am I going to do? And that's when, like, it's like when your back's against the wall, you really pull out the bag, all of these skills that you had all along, but you just were too afraid to tap into. And I've never looked back, and I've been in entrepreneurship now for like 9 years. But what I love as well is that when everybody else goes left, you went right. So when everybody else is cancelling, conserving, and probably like absolutely panicking, you were like, there's an opportunity here. Like, how can I make the most of this? When everybody's doing this, we'll do this. Also, that you've been of service to your friends. God, where do I get a friend like that? None of my friends understood it when I owned my own business, like, other than the fact that one of them was a hair salon and they come in and get like free blowouts. Like, no one really was interested at all. So I just love absolutely everything that you've said. And presumably from there, then you've just kind of like found your way through learned experiences and just mastered your craft.
Yeah, a bit of both really. So lots of, well, as a manifested generator still now, love to experiment. Like if somebody's like, oh, have you seen this new thing, or have you tried this thing? I'm like, no, but I'm going to.
Yes.
I do a lot of experimenting, trial and error, and I think that's a lot of what the journey is anyway.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, courses, coaches, all of that kind of thing, like slowly made my way through it all. But I would say the biggest lessons have all come through the personal experience, the failed launches, and you know, the times where you're working yourself to being sick. Like, it's all lessons learned, isn't it? I think that's where the biggest breakthroughs and transformations happen.
100%. And that's the thing that most people try and bypass. Like, they're all looking for the hacks, the trends, like the quick wins, and yet you're missing so much of the puzzle, I think, as an entrepreneur. Like, I've had, honestly, the most spectacular fails in business, but that has taught me so much about me as a person, but also about like, okay, there's always another way. Like, it's given me a whole new level of resourcefulness that I wouldn't have had otherwise if everything had just gone so easy. And I do think, like, it's a shame when people really are just, like I say, trying to bypass that part of the process, because that's when you really find out what you're made of. And yeah, I think it's trying to balance that with the pressure of being perfect online, isn't it?
100%. And I actually think that's where, and it's funny, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, as an industry or just in the online space in general, I think, and yeah, I can include myself in this sometimes too, maybe we need to do better with the messaging that we give. There's like this huge trend now where it's like, hustle is toxic. You know, I only work 2 hours a day and I make 7 figures a year and this and that. Like, people are now being fed that they don't need to work, they can bypass all the shit and land on their feet, you know. And whilst I'm not saying that's not true for those people, they don't share everything
Journey.
before.
Yeah,
And
100%. Oh yeah, this is like such a big a bugbear for me. Yeah, 100%. Because part of my journey is that I've also like done for you work. I've also done for you work for coaches behind the scenes. I know what goes into like those launches, like the team, the ad spend, all of the things, and then the refunds and the fallout at the other end. And it frustrates me that people perpetuate that cycle, that, like I say, that it's just easy. I sit in my pants and make 100 grand before breakfast, and there is just no negative consequence at all whatsoever, and you can too. And people are buying into these coaches, and the reality is, could they replicate their success today? Probably not. Are they like missing a massive piece of the puzzle? Like you said, all of those failures and the team and the costs that go on behind the scenes, it's super frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I feel that's why a lot of people are now coming into the online space with the attitude of like, oh well, so and so said it was easy, so it's got to be easy. And it's like,
Oh my God,
no.
yeah. I actually had a client that was that came to me initially as a client. She wanted to build this business. She didn't have anything. Like, she had a little social media following, but that, like, nothing. Like, she didn't have any social proof. She never worked with anybody, didn't have any modalities, like literally had nothing to bring to the table. What, straight out the gate, right, 10K. I want 10K months. I want this. I want that. I want people to pay like 5,000 to work with me. And as soon as I literally gave her like a few little strategies to start building trust, she was like, oh my God, I'm being really honest. Like, that feels like too much work. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm like, you literally want what used to be like in my corporate days, if you were earning like 6 figures a year, you owned the company. Like, you were a director, you were like an owner. So now it just blows my mind, like the audacity and the entitlement of people coming into the online space, that they're like, I want 10K before breakfast, and I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to have to do any work, and I don't want to have to like have any exchange whatsoever. Thank you, please. Can I have that business? It's like,
Yeah. And I think the word you said there, entitlement, is a big one I keep saying as well. It's like, why are you entitled to skip what everybody else has been through? And yeah, I feel like it's a real big thing at the minute, and it's just hard to get that balance, isn't it, between like, yeah, eventually you can have XYZ, but to get to there you need to do all of this stuff. And yeah, I feel like it's maybe just as an industry as a whole, maybe we all need to do better with the message we are portraying, because I've definitely had moments where, I can go on holiday and make sales every day. I don't have to serve clients to do this. Is where I do my passive income. But I spent 2 years building my business in a way, failing loads of times in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, 100%. And building trust with your audience. I think gone are the days of like the influencers where it's just like, buy my shit, buy my stuff, like, here's a link. I think people are much more discerning now. Like, obviously I'm approaching it from more because I have a psychology background and like consumer trends, and that fascinates me, like why people buy from that perspective. And I think definitely, like, we all had a captive audience during COVID and had a real opportunity. If you were like somewhat motivated or could spot a trend, like, you really like rise massively in success. To then replicate that going forwards without all of that like bro marketing and misleading tactics, it's now like, what does that leave now? Thankfully, I think it means that it's like the rise of the heart-led entrepreneurs that actually want to get their clients results and actually care about what they're doing. So I feel like it's a really great time to come into it. But I was just going to ask you, out of interest, do you follow like boxing, MMA, or any like Grant Cardone, any of the like super masculine like business leaders?
I wouldn't say I follow them as in I follow them really, really well.
Yeah.
But I do pay attention to them, have a look at them. Yeah.
Oh, I saw an interview the other day and it was like, I wonder if you'll be like me. So I saw an interview with Grant Cardone, who's like a massive property tycoon, like really like very much masculine style of business leadership, which I really resonate with because I think he's all about doing the work. But he was chatting with Dana White, who is obviously like heads up MMA, and they were basically saying like there's this really unprecedented time where people coming into like the workplace now and like the young ones coming up, like they don't want to work at all. They just want success to come easy. They want to be a YouTube sensation, like they want everything given to them. And they were saying, if you have any element of like being a savage or having any hunger in you to want to create massive success, like, you are going to dominate, because everybody else is looking for the easy wins and the path of least resistance. If you are somebody who has any grit or determination about you, like, now is your time. And it literally gives me chills because I'm like, yeah, like that's probably
so true.
Yeah, do you agree?
100%. I always, when people say to me like, what's one skill you know, you think every business owner or entrepreneur needs. I'm like, I don't know if I'd call it a skill, but you've just got to be resilient,
Yeah.
so fucking resilient. Like, get knocked down, get up, get knocked down, get up. Like, that is the journey, whether you like it or not. And like, sometimes you might just get knocked down a little bit, sometimes you'll get knocked down a lot. And you know, life's unpredictable. You've got to be able to deal with things changing all of the time and adaptable. And I think if you've got that, you don't even necessarily need to be super talented at something or have a huge variety of skills. I think you've just got to be able to get through it, which a lot of people can't because they don't want to.
Yeah, and also maybe they've not been tested. So I think that's the thing. It's so interesting where you said about it's about the resilience, because I will say when I look back to the version of me that it was in corporate, like she was super watered down. She was a people pleaser. Like I really didn't even know what I was capable of. Like I've always had like that grit because I had like a really turbulent childhood. So I never had anybody to rely on, but I still was like massively underplaying the woman that I really was, even as a mum. And then it was when I moved into entrepreneurship where it was like, suddenly I don't give a shit what people think. Like I've got, you know, kids to look after, I've got bills to pay, I've got staff that I'm responsible for. Like if I need to get out into the marketplace and hand out leaflets, guess what? I don't give a shit. I don't care if people like think I'm an idiot or are like silently judging me. Who cares? Like it's about serving my clients and getting out there and giving my business the best possible chance for success. And I think when you finally get to that place of like zero fucks, that's when you really start stepping into your true power as a woman and stop caring about everything needing to be perfect. And it's just about moving and, like you say, bouncing back better and stronger than ever.
100%, yeah. Work ethic as well is the big one. I've always had really good, even when I was in a job I hated, I had such a good work ethic. So I've also got endometriosis, which has gotten a lot better now, but like a few years ago it was horrific. Like the pains would wake me up in the middle of the night, but I'd be in A&E at like midnight, get home at like 3 a.m. I'd be in work at 9 a.m. the next day because it's like, well, I've got a job to do. I don't want to let my team down. I don't want to let my boss down. Like I just always have had a good work ethic. I could have a cold, I go to work. Like that was just me. But that was the way I was raised. My mum was like so big on that. If I was ever like, Mum, I don't feel well, she's like, you're going to fucking school. So, like,
Has anything fallen off? You're fine then.
Yeah, literally. And I remember, so when I failed my GCSEs, obviously wasn't going to college, summer holidays started. She let me have like my last summer holidays, you know, out with my friends, having fun. And as soon as September rolled round, she came in my room every single day, 6 o'clock in the morning, turned my bedroom light on. She'd get the fuck up and get a job. So she said to me, you're not going to college, you're going to get a job. And I was like, all right, fair enough. And even when she knew I was applying for jobs, all of that every day in my room, 6 a.m, light on, get out of bed. Like,
yeah.
At the time, I remember being 16, like,
I hate you.
You're a bitch, like I hate you, and none of my friends' mums do this. And now I'm like so thankful for it because that's the kind of work ethic you need, especially as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, 100%. And funny enough, I did this exercise with my daughter. So I've got one daughter who wants to be homeschooled, and I think that's probably exactly the right thing for her. But I was like, right, well, come to me with a plan then. What's the plan B? I'm not finding it. You are going to tell me what it is, and I will help you to find like the right path to that end goal. So she's off, like, bless her, she's like doing a presentation and all the things. So we'll see about that one. But I've also got another daughter who is like, oh my God, she is going to take over the world. Like she, from the minute she came out, she was like, literally walking at 9 months. She was like, literally, if she could drive, no use to me whatsoever. Like she fed herself, she weaned herself, like she literally is so independent, it's ridiculous. And everywhere she goes, she takes over. Like even on holiday, like she's got a band of kids following her, she's helping like the leaders at the kids club, like she just owns the place. And she's really interested in like building YouTube and all of these things. And I was like, but I need to know why. Like if you think it's because it's going to give you easy money, like even I've got a YouTube channel, it takes time. So I was like, right, sit next to me, it's the summer holidays. I'm like, right, you will sit next to me for the next hour, you will see everything I do, you'll go into the applications that I do, like we'll discuss like hashtags and all of these things, and giving her a bit of it, because I also think she could be my PA one day. So I'm like just letting her know like how I like my coffee and all the things as well. I would definitely have her on my team, but it's like you need to know the boring side of it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like guess what, you're not going to be an overnight success. you know, and even if it's a YouTube channel, I want to know the concept. Go and do some research, come back, show me the channels that you want to like emulate and all the things. And I know that my other son is like, oh my God, you're so mean. Like, I just want to game online and make money. And I'm like, boy, that won't make you money. Like, you need this like baptism of fire, and like the detail that I'm going in to actually like make money. I'm setting you up for success. Like, be grateful. I'm
Yeah,
very
it's what you
busy, be
said.
grateful.
Yeah, it's what you said about to your daughter, like, but why do you want to do this? And that's so important. And I think loads of people are like, I remember thinking about my why all the time, and like sometimes it can take a while to figure it out. But I think unless you've got that, you haven't got motivation. Like, people say to me all the time, how do you stay motivated? I'm like, I don't know how to not be motivated, because I know what I'm motivated for. I know what I'm working for my gains, my clients' gains, even like the community gains, like everything, like, you know, there's a bigger picture going on all of the time, split into, you know, lots of different reasons. But I think if you don't have that, you don't have any motivation. Like, it'll be easy to wake up one day and go, oh, I'm not going to film that YouTube video today, I'll do it tomorrow. And then the next day I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to do that at the weekend. Actually, no, I'm going to go out with my friends instead. Oh, I'm feeling motivated this week, so I'm going to get back into it. And then I'm going to drop off the face of the earth for 2 weeks again. Like, I feel like that's why a lot of people lose their motivation, is because they haven't figured out why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And then as soon as they don't see results, they're like, yeah, I'm out. Like, this feels like too much hard work. Yeah, I absolutely get that as well. One thing I noticed though that I loved with you when I was going through was that you're kind of a fan for the legacy building, as much as you absolutely dominate social media in terms of like Instagram. I wanted to dive into that actually. Some of the success that you've had has also been like quick wins. And massive success in a short period of time. So I wanted to dive into that. But I also love that you focus on like SEO, Pinterest, and longevity of content and brand building. Like, that feels really exciting, because most people, when they're like, oh, I support people online, it's Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and that's it. And I always felt like, as an entrepreneur, I didn't even have those things for a long time in my business. Even when I was coaching, it was mainly offline before I moved to online, that I was like, there's so much more. Like, there's such a bigger piece of this puzzle, and longevity and sustainability in business. So I love that as well.
Yeah, 100%. Lots of people, it's why people get tired really easy as well. Like, Instagram is, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Instagram, always have been, but it can get tiring, I'll be honest. Like, you know, showing up every day, and, you know, it is a quick win platform. You post, you get a result, you post, you get results. Not like you post and then it lasts for ages and people are going to see that post for like a week and you're going to be in their mind. It's like, no, you got to go again, we got to go again, we got to go again. Like, it can be tiring. So it's like, not even just for like the sustainable growth for your business, but like for you as well. It is hard. It can be so hard.
So you encourage your clients to balance out the two, to have those like longer footprint platforms. Don't know how to articulate that.
Yeah, so yeah, just stuff that lasts a bit longer, takes the pressure off a bit more, and of course more visibility as well. But to be honest, it depends on the business as well. So I work with, in true management style, a real variety. I've got product-based businesses, service-based businesses, online businesses. I did them all. And again, this goes like to the messaging online. There's a lot of the product-based businesses will say to me, well, so-and-so said they only use Instagram. And I'm like, so-and-so is a coach charging $10,000 per client. That's why she's making 100 grand a month on Instagram. You are selling products for £20. If you want 100 grand a month, you need hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on your business, and you need to get yourself out there. So it's like sometimes really like business dependent as well. Like, you may get away with just being on Instagram, but particularly lower ticket businesses, I'm a low ticket business as well. A lot of the stuff I do is low ticket, so it does become a numbers game for me as well. I need lots of visibility to keep my business going. So yeah, I would say it's good for anyone, but predominantly for the lower ticket businesses.
Yeah, and it's, people negate that. Like, they really underestimate it, don't they, the numbers that are required to really get any meaningful types of conversions. What would you say? I usually say somewhere between like 1 and 10%, but that's assuming that even everybody in your audience get to see your content. That's the thing as well.
Yeah, so yeah, I would say like for social media, yeah, like that 1 to 10%, but on like, and again, depending what type of business you have, that's where it gets complicated too. A lot of my the women I support, that are, you know, got like websites and you buy through there and all that kind of thing, the average conversion rate for a website is 2 to 4%. It's really, really low.
Wow.
And when I explain that to them, I'm like, so if you're selling a product for £20 and you want 10 grand a month, you need 25,000 people on your website every month. They go,
yeah.
and
Oh my
they've got
God.
like 500 followers, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, we need to get to work.
Yeah. So what would you do in that scenario? Is it a case of like just finding the best platform for the right thing? Is it a case of switching the mindset? So what I realized was, as a coach, I'm a content creator, and fortunately for me as a manifesting generator, like I love that element anyway. You know, I'm a writer, I've got my YouTube channel, I'm a podcast host, so those are things that I'm doing anyway. But trying to explain that to new people coming into the coaching space, where it's like you're essentially a content creator, because like you say, like people need more before they will invest in you. It's not as easy as just, oh, I just show up and give value anymore. There's so much more to it. And it's getting into that mindset, I think people really struggle with.
100%. Yeah. In those situations, yeah, multiple platforms is the best way. You guaranteed more eyeballs. Doesn't have to be more work either. I do a lot of cross platform promoting. So if I film something on TikTok, it gets saved to my camera roll straight away. That can be posted on Instagram at some point, vice versa. You can also post them onto Pinterest. You can turn a carousel into an email. You can now post carousels on TikTok too, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like cross-platform promoting. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I've got to do a different post on each one. You can be really smart about it. But ultimately, if those are like the big numbers that people need, unfortunately, it does come down to posting a bit more. It's always what I tell people to do. That's what I do as well. So I tend to post 2 times a day, sometimes only one. But I split it up between like one growth style piece of content that I know is there to purposely try and attract people to the page, get them engaging or whatever. And then one that's maybe more dedicated to nurturing and selling. So like you've got that consistent balance, because the issue I see the most with people is they're either too much top of funnel, getting the eyeballs, or they're too much bottom of funnel, making the sales. So then they're either just getting loads of followers and not really getting any sales, or they're getting sales and they burn out their audience and then they're done. So it's like finding that balance, and it looks different for everyone, but in general, it's kind of, you've got to think about the types of content to like balance out your funnel. So you've got that constant, you know, it's constantly going through it. People are always somewhere in that journey.
Yeah, and it's setting that intention, isn't it? A lot of the time I see people really struggle with understanding that social media is an opportunity to sell. And it's insane as well, because obviously when I had like my brick and mortar businesses, like I, you know, to advertise, you'd have to pay for leaflets, hundreds of pounds, and get those distributed. You'd have to pay for marketing and radio ads and publications, and it was thousands of pounds that would have to, it's just a given. Like you can't possibly grow your business if people don't know that you're there. So you would have to be super proactive coming into the online space, and people are like, I have to pay for Canva. Like what? And I'm like, you want a business, you're a business owner, there is an investment in that. Guess what? And also you're the business, so equally the investment is in yourself, because if you're not good and your head is not great and your energy is not great, then your outcome is not going to be great either. So you've also got to protect the asset, which is you. Like, and it just blows my mind. Like, and I think we're both very aligned with that, because we both went all out for and all in on our businesses. Like I literally sold my house and relocated my family to buy my first business. It was like £250,000 investment. And I had no fucking clue whether I had no business owning a barbershop business, by the way. I'd never even stepped in it. But I was like, I literally have no plan B. Like there is no out. It's got to work. Whatever the fuck happens, like it's got to work. So let's just figure it out. And that was it, you know. These people that are like, oh, I've got to post on Instagram like every day. And, you know, it's like, yes, girl, get on fucking Instagram. Like, what is the problem?
100%. I say to people all the time, same as you. So I've never had to run a business where, you know, online didn't exist. So I always say to people all the time, I'm like, look at it from a different way. How fucking cool is it that it is pissing it down outside? We are on our sofas watching Netflix in our gym jams with our favorite slippers on, and we're posting and thousands of people are seeing our businesses. Whereas, you know, 10 years ago, we would have been out in the rain, knocking on people's doors, putting up flyers, all of the rest. Like, how cool is that? Like, and like you said, it's a mixture of mindset as well, isn't it? Like flipping it on its head and deciding to have fun. One of my clients did that recently. She was like, I've just decided reels are going to be really fun now. They're just going to be great. And then like literally she started getting results. Is that the only reason she's getting results? No. But it made it feel good to her. So she probably become more creative, posted more because she decided it was fun. So it is a real mixture of the mindset and the strategy as well. But yeah, so many people are very like, I don't want to post twice a day, Tori. I'm like, okay, then let's go and put 50 grand into ads. Then you won't have to post twice a day. I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
That's it. Like I was sitting here thinking the other day, God, if I sat at my desk, because also like I have so much fun with it too. I'm so lucky that I've built my business to be super flexible around me, around like my home life and all the things. And I remember thinking like, God, I used to travel like 50 hours a week. I used to be sit at my desk 8 o'clock in the morning and be getting home at 6 o'clock, wouldn't even necessarily get the kids to bed or any of those things. If I put that level of like hours and work and intention into my business, I'd probably be like the next Grant Cardone. Like it blows my mind, but I can have a pretty successful business with like a fraction of that time and energy and intention. Isn't that insane? Like we live in this time.
Insane. It is insane. But that's why I also say to people as well, is like, yeah, you can get to that point, but like I always say to people, you know, when they're like, oh, I didn't post today because I was tired. So do you ever go into your corporate job, into your boss's meeting room and go, I didn't do that thing today because I'm tired? You'd be like, fuck, I have to get this done. So like, why don't you treat your own business that way? Like, and that's the bit that blows my mind. Like, oh, I was tired today, or you know, this happened. It's like, what would your boss say? Oh, he kicked my ass. So why aren't you kicking your own ass, girl? Like, this is for you. You're doing this for you, and you're doing that for them. Like, what are we doing here?
I know it is that like mindset shift that has to happen, even as a collective. Like we're so ingrained to believe like just, you know, having a job, it equals safety, and the reality, it doesn't. They will cut you in a heartbeat, and I saw that all around me during COVID, and it broke my heart. Like people that have been super loyal. Fortunately, I was already out of that by that point, and I was dealing with my own issues in COVID, having a barbershop and a hair salon. It was a nightmare, but I just thought, wow, the best thing you can ever do to really like elevate your money mindset and to welcome in more abundance and really change your life is understanding that you don't need anything else outside of you in order to be safe. Like you are the safety, because guess what, like you did, you'll figure it out. You'll keep it moving. You'll find a way. You're not going to allow yourself to be homeless on the street and like just literally lie down on the side of the road and be like, okay, I'm just going to die now. I'm going to sit here. I've got no more energy to save myself. Like we are ingrained at our deepest level to like be wired to be safe and to ensure the survival of the species. So stop underestimating what the power that you have and putting all of that emphasis on things like money and a job and other people, because no one's coming to save you. You are literally your own safety.
100%. And I always think as well, the times where I've maybe have felt unsafe or maybe anxious, whatever the feelings are, because something's going on, have always been when the biggest breakthroughs have happened or the best ideas have happened, because you're forced to think differently. Like you're forced to think, okay, this has stopped working, or this didn't work, or this is new. Like the cost of living crisis, I hate talking about it because it's depressing, but for me, that was the first time I'd ever really navigated one, because the last one I was young, living at home, like I was still in school, like I didn't know what was going on. Like I was still being fed, had a roof over my head, I didn't have to stress. So it's like my first time ever navigating it, also having a mortgage and having a business through it. And I'll be honest, I panicked big time. And everyone was starting to talk about it, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to lose everything. Like, because I lost loads of clients overnight. I was like, I'm literally going to lose everything. But in those moments, I was forced to be like, no, we're not going to lose everything. We just need to go back to the drawing board.
It's mind-blowing that clients would pull out of the one thing that can actually change their reality. Because for me, it's like, if you need more money and you know things aren't working, what's the first thing you need to do? Invest in somebody who can help you to get more money. Like, you know, that's the last thing that you pull out of, in my opinion. And that's when you physically cannot afford it anymore. But to have access as an entrepreneur and have the ability to be able to literally change your whole life with a phone and that's it. You know, like if I've had this with clients where they're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do, like money. I'm like, girl, like that's when you get to work. That's when you double down. That's when you really get intentional about what it is that you want to create, because you have that power available to you on your phone. Like you can make more sales tomorrow if you want to.
Yeah.
But we forget, don't we?
Yeah. And like sometimes I think, yeah, it's just that little reminder of, you know, I've done this before, I could do it again. Like,
Yeah. 100%, yeah. So what do you like, I'm always interested in like your process. So first of all, actually I'll circle back to the thing that I saw in your, because I am also interested in like the quick wins and the energy flows where intention goes, and like we just said about the cost of living, it's like actually you've got that power inside of you that you can create massive like cash injections in your business if you really decide and you really go all in. Like there are billions of people in the world at any one point. You only need like such a small fraction to really create a meaningful income. So that's the time when you double down. For me, you don't give up, you go all in. And one thing I noticed was that you said about on one of your posts, I think you created like a massive new following in 30 days. Was it like 22,000 or something new followers in 30 days? Like, I'd love to know what that process was, because I'm always about like, especially as a manifesting generator, like we redefine what is possible and realistic. We collapse time and we get there quicker than everybody else. So I love that you've just intuitively done that with your manifesting generator energy. And what did that look like? Why did you even decide to do that? And what was your process?
It's really funny actually. So obviously I need, what we just discussed, I need a lot of volume to hit certain numbers for the business. And what was really funny about like what I decided to do differently was, right, I was on my high horse for a really long time with Reels. I was like, everyone's doing the same shit, it's fucking boring, I don't want to be like everyone else. And then like one day I was sitting there, I was like, what can I do? And I'm looking through and I'm thinking, well, Tori, this stuff is popular for a reason. People like it. It's like I wouldn't be like, I don't know, look at Pepsi and Coke, like they're not that different. Same as like all fizzy drinks. Could you imagine if, you know, somebody's got the next best fizzy drink in the world and they're like, I'm not doing that because Coke's doing that and Pepsi's doing that and Fanta's doing that.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I so on my high horse? It's still me, even if, you know, I just find a way to make this work for me. So I just started really studying content and like noticing things about it. I was like, well, that's doing really well, that's doing really well, that's doing really well, and it's been doing well for a long time. So I'm going to kind of like put this together and do my own way. And obviously I was posting every day anyway, so I had a lot of like traction already kind of going. And then yeah, got off my high horse, started posting content that was actually popular and flew. And I thought, this was really obvious. That was what was really annoying. And normally that's the way, isn't it? When you have like your breakthrough and you do it, you're like, why didn't I see that earlier?
I think it's that balance, isn't it? Like as a manifesting generator, like we're a little bit rebellious and we don't want to be like everybody else. Like that, to have a really ordinary, boring life is like a fate worse than death for me. Like I'm like, oh my God, anything but ordinary. And like literally, I just want that extraordinary life. And I think it's probably that element. But then it's finding it, like you say, approaching it from a place of curiosity, which we should always be doing in business anyway. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's just about the things that work and the things that don't, and really taking your ego out of the situation then enabled you to, what I love as well is use your manifesting generator strategy, i.e. take inspiration from the people around you and then make it your own and come back with something that literally is like game changing because no one's doing it that way.
Yeah, and it was literally like so the first post that went viral ended up hitting like 9 million views.
Wow.
Huge. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? So like a week later, I was like, I'm going to post it again. I literally exact same video, didn't change it, just put a different audio on it, posted it again. Went, I think that one got 500k, and I was like, I mean, that's still really good, but not 9 million. So they're like, wait, like another 2 weeks. I posted it again, and it went viral again. I think this time it got like 2 million, and I was like, how funny is that? Like, and this is like the thing. I feel like people always think they need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah,
and like, that's why a lot of people get burnt out. Sometimes it's just working a bit smarter and going off data too. I literally just looked at the data, applied it, and then found a way to keep replicating it.
Yeah, taking the emotion out of the situation 100%. It's so important in business to really getting out of your own way. Otherwise, you become the block to your own success. You become really set in your own ways. Like you say, you don't approach it with a sense of curiosity, more like as an experiment, because that's what it is, right? It's just like numbers, data, what's working, what isn't. And if you can take it out, like the emotion out, where it's not about whether people like you, then it makes it much easier to treat it like a business and run it like a business.
Yeah, I think especially when we've got personal brands, we take everything personally. We shouldn't, you know, sometimes we do need to detach from it. Same as like if you know someone says no to buying, sometimes we can react from a place of like, oh, they don't like me, or I said something,
Yeah,
they don't want to work with me, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, they're just saying no, like
yeah,
to the offer. It's not me. And
yeah.
I feel like that's a really important thing for people to remember, is that it's not all about us. And I feel like I say this to my clients all the time as well, when they're like, oh, I don't want to post about my offer again today because I did it yesterday. I don't want to annoy people. And I always say to them, I'm like, no offense, nobody's paying that much attention to you.
Yeah, nobody
Like,
cares. Nobody's
they're
obsessed with
not
you.
going, oh, Tori, you posted the same offer yesterday and you're doing it
Yeah,
again today. Like, I don't want to buy that. What are you doing? Like, nobody's
yeah,
reacting like that.
yeah.
Or like
You're
when
trying
you
to help me?
repurpose,
How dare you? How dare you
yeah,
try and help me with your offers? Get back,
yeah.
evil woman trying to make money and have a sustainable business. Like,
Yeah, like no, like that's like what these little thoughts in our head are telling us though. Same with like repurposing content. When I tell people to do it, it's like, what if people notice? I'm like, we're all consuming hundreds of pieces of content literally every day.
yeah.
Nobody's paying that much attention to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, they're not obsessed with you. Like,
Yeah,
we all think that
literally.
everybody is, don't we? They're all silently like watching and judging. And I always, have you seen that reel that's like, if you're still watching but you don't like me, then you're officially a fan? And it's so
Yeah,
true. Like, if these people are obsessed with your content, then amazing, because you're getting more views and then probably being pushed out further with the algorithm. So thanks very much.
yeah, totally. But yeah, I always say people aren't paying that much attention. I know for me as well, I'm on in and out of Instagram like a yo-yo. So I'll be like, probably after this podcast, I'll probably grab my phone, reply to messages, look at Instagram and go, oh, I fancy a cup of tea. I'll go make a cup of tea, and then I'll probably make the cup of tea, go sit at my desk, open Instagram, put it back down, start working, and then
Yeah.
I won't
How
have a
do
look
you
at it again. I'll go out food shopping, have a look in the car, and then go into the shop and come back out. And it's like that's life. Like people are living like this and
oh my
they're not
God.
paying that much attention.
100%. My partner literally can't even have like go to the toilet without having his phone and all the things. I'm like, what do you think that you are missing in that? Like, well, I'd say like 2 minutes, but we know men, like they're in there for bloody
Yeah.
hours. I'm like, what do you think that you're missing in that time? Like, nothing has happened. Like, aliens haven't taken over the world. Nothing
Yeah,
really
and
exciting.
they're probably just like scrolling like this as well, like not even taking it in.
Yeah, well, it's so this is the thing actually, because obviously I'm a hypnotherapist as well, and when you are doing that, you're actually in a trance state. So which is essentially like hypnosis. So you've really got to be intentional around what you are allowing into your subconscious and ensure that the content that you're consuming is like really positively affirming and making you feel good. If it's making you feel some kind of way, then unsubscribe. But how do you find the balance then with that content if it's your job and it's also your escape?
So yeah, I used to be hard. I used to get triggered a lot on social
Yeah,
media. But I've kind of learned, well, for a lot of the time when I was actually getting triggered, it's actually me being jealous without realizing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
this is going back to the whole figuring out why you're doing this and what you want.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was looking at people and I was being really judgy, but it's like, actually, no, I'm fucking jealous.
Yeah,
So I
and
then
it's
like,
such a
now I've managed
powerful
to,
emotion.
yeah, so I've managed to flip it now. And when I see these types of people, instead of being like a green-eyed monster and feeling jealous, I'm like, how fucking inspiring is that?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
that's
I
the
can do
thing.
that. I can
That
have that. Like if they've done it, I can do it. And like so I've gone from going on social media, getting myself worked up in a state like, oh, that person, who the fuck do they think they are? And no, I don't like this and I don't like that, to actually being like, do you know what? Fair play. It's like a
right.
totally different emotion. I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's what
Yeah.
I want.
That's so powerful. And I love that you've done that intuitively, because jealousy is such a powerful emotion and it gives us really incredible feedback, because essentially what we're saying, we're triggered by that because we've got a belief that we can't have the same success. So it's when you have those scenarios where it's like, oh, it's okay for her like she's got X, Y, and Z. That's self-preservation. And it's like, actually, if there's a part of me that wants that, what is the part of me that's telling me that I can't have it too? And it's really good to then, you know, start working through those limiting beliefs and reframing like you have done, so that actually it can become really inspiring instead.
Yeah. And it's like you said about the strategic point, is like getting curious. It's like just asking yourself, like, why am I so pissed off by a social media post? Like, do you know what? Sometimes it's a matter of, I'm on my period, I'm just not in the mood. Like sometimes that's it.
Yeah,
You just
back
gotta get
away from the
curious.
phone. Today is not a good day.
Yeah. Like just get curious and just think, why has this affected me so much? And yeah, sometimes I think I'm being an idiot, or
Yeah,
sometimes I'm like, do you know what? Actually, I'm just a little bit jealous, and that's okay for me to feel
yeah.
that way. It's just affirming to me, this is what I really want, this is what I'm working for. And other times it's simply, do you know what? We're all so different. That's their opinion, and this is my opinion. They're not affecting me. It doesn't change my life. Let's move on.
100%, yeah. And having that's how you get out alive, I think, when it comes to social media, without it massively affecting your mental health. And I think it's really sad when I see people online that are like, oh, I'm back, guys, like I needed a break, like needed some time away from socials. And it's like, why? Like that should be part of your daily maintenance, like you say, having that emotional intelligence to regulate for yourself. If something is not feeling good, like unsubscribe, like do the journal work, like don't allow yourself to self-sabotage your own business growth and attempts at making money because something else has triggered you. Don't allow others to have that power over you. Just be that gatekeeper for yourself.
100%. I had a moment only a few weeks ago, I was really triggered by something. And the first thing I did, because I noticed it, but was struggling to deal with it, because I felt like this for a few days now.
Yeah,
First thing I did was I messaged my mindset coach and was like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like this. I'm not sure why. Can we talk?
yeah,
And I got somebody else to help me through it. Like, because you're not going to be able to support yourself through something every time.
yeah,
So it's like having the right people around you as well to lean on in those moments. Like I used to have friends that, you know, we'd all end up in this vicious circle where someone would start bitching. So we'd all start bitching, or someone would moan about this, we'd all start moaning about that. And like, you know, sometimes you've just got to know where
yeah.
you need to be, who you need for support if you can't figure that out on your own.
100%. And understanding that you're the asset, you're the business. Without you, there isn't one. So it's not only just like building teams and investing in software, it's investing in yourself to make sure that you're good and like keeping the party going and operating at that higher level self. So I absolutely love that you've done that intuitively anyway. And yeah, 100%. Like your friends, I will say this to like clients, like your friends, your partners are not your business partners. Like you have to have something outside of that, or you're really going to be like just diluting the water, in terms of muddying the water, whatever the word is. But you know, like you don't want your partner to be your journal, like you want them to be your partner, and you've got to keep those things separate. So a
100%.
couple of things I was really interested in is like your view as an expert, not only in passive income, but also in social media. Like, what do you see that most people are really like missing an opportunity in right now, either on like different social platforms that they're either utilizing or not utilizing, or like with the passive income element as well? Like, what do you see most people like just massively under utilizing?
So for passive income, I would say digital products for sure. They're booming, they're huge right now. And literally anybody can do it. I keep saying to people, digital products at the moment is a bit like, you know, when Bitcoin first came out and we were all really
Yeah,
skeptical, like, is it real? Like, I
yeah,
don't understand. And then like a few years later, people were like millionaires and billionaires because they saw an opportunity and jumped in it. I feel like that's what the digital product industry is going to be, is that it's going to get a point where you're too late. You haven't jumped
yeah,
in fast enough to really capitalize on it, or quickly, because it's going to get harder. Same with everything, right? Like when TikTok first came out, it was really easy to grow on the platform because there was less users, less competition. Now, if you started from scratch on TikTok, it would be a lot harder. Not impossible, of course,
yeah.
but a lot harder. So it's definitely something people need to jump on like now.
And when you
I
say
think
digital products, do you mean like digital downloads, like PDFs, workbooks, or do you mean like courses and
lots,
programs?
yeah, lots of different things. So yeah, whether it's like a course, a masterclass, an ebook, could even be like printables, templates, all sorts. I've sold a bit of everything. Again, manifesting generator vibes. So I started an Etsy shop in December last year because I was bored. The business was really quiet because I set it up that way. I was like, I want to chill in December. Like I had my membership, so really like low effort stuff for me. And I had all this free time, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do with it?
So let's fill it up.
Yeah, like, oh my god, everyone else is working. Like, what can I do? So I was like, I'm going to start an Etsy store, And I started this Etsy shop, and I put my own stuff on there, so like ebooks, masterclasses. But then I was looking at what products were trending on Etsy. I was like, I can make those. And one of them was like these little editable Christmas vouchers. So, like if you booked somebody a holiday to New York, but you still wanted to give them something, you could like print off a little voucher, like you're going to New York, that on it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to create a Canva template, whacked it up.
Oh my god, I thought you just said like eatable vouchers, and I was like,
oh, sorry, no, editable.
Like, no, sorry, I honestly, that is my little ADHD brain. I'm like, would you eat it? Like, sorry, that's why my face is a bit like, oh my god, I love that idea. That's so great.
Whacked it on there, and within like, I think it was like just under 2 weeks, I sold like 400 of them.
Oh my god!
On Christmas Day as well. It was so funny. I made like 100 sales on Christmas Day. I was sat there with my dad and Ryan eating dinner, and my phone's going ching 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 ching.
Oh,
and
I love it.
I was like, I don't know. Yeah, it was insane. So then I was like, well, I'm gonna look at what else I can do. And started buying an Etsy shop as well. So I never promoted my Etsy shop on social media. I've done like 1,100 sales now just from people going on Etsy. I started Ryan a shop as well. I was like, baby, gotta get on this. He's done like 900 now. He doesn't even like social media. We're complete opposites. He's like, oh, I hate it, don't understand it. And yeah, he's like made all those sales as well. So it's not even just for, I think lots of people think digital products, passive income, education. Not just that.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, God, I had an Etsy store. I didn't make anything like that. And I think I just didn't have the commitment to go all in and master it. So would you say it's like great imagery, SEO, like just being quite strategic with the descriptions and all the things?
Yeah, mainly SEO, and also knowing like what's really popular. So for example, we're August now, so Halloween's coming up. So I would be looking at creating things that are like Halloween related now. Because SEO sometimes needs like a bit of time to know where it's going. So I would like to be creating that now, and then like September I'd be thinking about Christmas and all of that stuff. So you can jump on the trends, because if you jump on a trend and you like they take off, Etsy just like starts pushing your store out more, which is why I got so much traction, because that little Christmas voucher was getting sold so much. It was bringing other people to other products in my store.
I love it. And it's like the same sort of skill set, isn't it? Where it's like identifying a trend, optimizing SEO, like getting into the mindset of the buyer and what they might be looking for. And then just, making it as easy as possible for them people to invest in you. Like, I love that. So obviously that's still an opportunity. So in terms of like social media platforms and all of the things, like what's your view on Threads, like Clapper? Have you used that?
Yeah, I had a look and I completely forgot about it. Same as Threads, and I kind of didn't really see it massively taking off anyway. I like it, but I keep forgetting about it. I just feel like it's not what people were looking for.
Yeah, I agree. I loved it for a minute, and then I was like, no, this is annoying. And also I think as a business owner, it's like, I don't need people to know the woman behind the business. Like, social media is for sales. I can change your goddamn life. If that's not enough for you, then okay, like you don't need to know what I had for breakfast. I'm all about building trust and alignment, but I almost feel like it's a bit intrusive. Like,
yeah, it doesn't have to be a diary. Like, we don't need to share all the intricate details. That's what I say to people all the time. They say to me, people say to get personal. How personal do I get? And I'm like, well, it's nice to know a bit about you, but you don't need to share what colour knickers you're wearing, or the argument you had with your boyfriend this morning, or that you feel like shit today and all of that. Like, you can kind of we don't have to give everything, but like you said, it's nice. So we've got to build that trust. And as well, I feel like when people know you, that's where you get your vibey clients as well, isn't it? Like, I'm so lucky. All of my clients are so cool.
Yeah,
but it's because they the way I show up, they're like, oh, I like her too. So, but yeah, but then there's a line, I think, isn't there? I see some people going like really overboard, and I'm like,
Yeah. And also like the backlash, that the audacity that people might want to utilize it to promote their businesses. It's like, girl, we're all here to make a living, and that's what social media is. Like, I don't need to consume loads of content around everyone, like, and this is maybe a bit of a lone wolf syndrome, in the sense that, because I've never had a community and a family, and I don't really have a friendship circle anymore either. It's like I've never been super invested in everyone around me, and like, ooh, what are you eating for breakfast, ooh, what are you watching on Netflix. Like, I certainly have a community, but it's like, if you're in my tribe, it's because you already know, like, we are super aligned in all the things. Like, I don't have that need for relevance, where like, God, my ex literally would be like, it'd be like pen paling everybody, and it's like, oh, so I was chatting with this one, WhatsApp group with this one, on socials with this one, and I'm like, where is the need to like just be relevant and just to be checking in with everybody all the time? I'm like, I'm good, just me. Like, I don't need all of the things, and to know what like Karen down the road is doing and all the things. Like, I don't need that level of validation and all of the things. I don't need them to know what I'm doing. Like, I'm good. It's,
yeah,
it's it's quite an interesting place for somebody who is just used to being so like the center of all things for themselves, to then like I say, with threads where it's like constant downloads and updates. It's like, I don't need to know, and I
yeah,
really don't want to know, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah,
and I don't want to have to give away that part of myself either, because especially as a manifesting generator, like, girl, my day's erratic. Like, I'm all over the place. I'm here, there, doing 100 different things. It would be quite exhausting for somebody to follow like my thought process throughout a day.
100%. Yeah, I definitely think it's not what people are craving, so I don't see that one lasting much at all. I've also got a funny opinion on video content as well. Not anytime soon. I think it'll be a while. I personally think video content's going to die out eventually again, just like it did with Vine. Do you remember Vine?
No, no.
Oh, so Vine was kind of similar to TikTok. It was like short form videos.
Yeah,
Really, really popular, I reckon, for maybe a year. So TikTok's done really well, and then it just died out.
yeah,
And what's the reason? My reasoning behind this is because we've watched video content, short form video content, die out before. And also, TikTok now introduced carousels to the platform. So that tells me maybe they're noticing a little drop in the
yeah,
interest. And then furthermore, our attention spans are a joke. So it used to be we had like 6 seconds to get somebody's attention. Now it's 3 seconds. Like, that's how much people are just going, oh, and scrolling away. And I think eventually, like, people are just gonna stop with the videos because we can't hold the attention. I notice me doing it as well. Like, I'll start watching a video, and if it starts to like go on a little bit, I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have time for this. And I'm like,
yes.
oh my God, that's
Yeah. How can you imagine me with ADHD? Like, 100%. Yeah. I get really fatigued very quickly, but then equally as a content creator, I find it really frustrating, because I'm like, I can't add any value here. Like, I can't say it quick enough. I already talk quickly as it is. Like, can people even get any value from this content anyway?
yeah. So I think eventually everyone's gonna kind of just be a bit like with it. Not anytime soon, but I do think that will happen eventually.
Yeah, interesting. I've noticed even on YouTube that they're promoting like the live feature now as well. And that's a really great way to get growth, even over like shorts. So apparently, I've heard. So I think do you see it going like full circle back to like genuine connections, longer like relationships, and people would just be more discerning with where they're placing their fucks to give?
100%, yeah, because when TikTok came along, it completely changed the way we were consuming content as consumers. So, I used to like maybe go on Instagram, look at a few nice pictures of my mates, like him, like a few celebrities I kind of followed, didn't follow that many. And then like with TikTok as a consumer, I don't even look at who I'm following. I just go on the For You page and I'm like this through it, just like laughing at all the videos, like it's kind of funny or, whatever. So I've gone from just like going, oh, a couple of photos of my mates, fine, to now scrolling sometimes for like an hour straight. Like next
Yeah.
one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, next one. And I do feel like there's only so long, like we can do that before we start to crave, actually, I want to see my friends' photos, I want to watch this because I generally give a fuck about that. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, I do think it's going to change. Live content, I think, is going to go back to being huge as well. I'm seeing lots of platforms leverage lives. TikTok does it really well, live videos. Instagram's got a lot of work to do, but I didn't know YouTube you could do lives now as well. That's cool. Pinterest are introducing live.
Oh wow. I feel a bit sad for Pinterest though. It's like it was such a sacred space for just like beautifully, carefully created content and like blogs and all of those things. And it's like, you don't have to do like, you don't have to be TikTok. You don't have to have like the pins and stuff with the short form content, like you say. It's like that's not your home. Like that's okay. You don't need to do that. I don't want them to be doing lives on Pinterest. Oh,
it's but going back to like what we said about entrepreneurship and stuff, that it changes all of the time, and I do think it's something that will be reversed.
Yeah, because otherwise like every platform's the same. Like if they've all got the same functionality, how are you ever really going to dominate any or differentiate any element of what you offer? So as even like Clapper, God, I obviously when everybody said TikTok's going to be banned and all of the things, get over to Clapper, I thought, okay, I'll be an early adopter. And it was like the absolute Wild West. Like the content and stuff that I was seeing was just, you can't ever unsee it. So I was like, I came off it pretty quickly, but I was like, there's no point of differentiation now between you and TikTok. So why am I going to bother with you? I've already invested like time into TikTok. So I imagine that will die out now.
Yeah, I do
but
think
that's what's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to dilute the attention of everybody if they're all doing the same thing.
100%, yeah. And that's why I think, well, when I do get visible, we do Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and SEO, because I feel like those are the 4 platforms, well, are the most popular, apart from Facebook maybe, but also have very clear intentions on what you're doing on them. Whereas like you said, some of the others, it's getting to a point, some of the features, it's getting to a point where it's like, well, what's so different? But it's not necessarily about doing something, say using video really different. It's about just getting more people to see it. So Instagram's definitely community building place, you know, where you kind of, you've got maybe your more fans there commenting, they're DMing, all of that kind of stuff behind the scenes. And then TikTok's definitely an outreach platform. So I don't know if you've noticed, but majority of the time when you post on TikTok, you get seen by more non-followers than actual followers. So I think TikTok's a great place for that constant outreach, like reaching new people. Also quite good for community as well. The live features, product-based businesses, the live features they have on TikTok are insane because of TikTok Shop. They really, really push that. Pinterest is more for, like you said, your blog posts, or even driving people to your Instagram email list directly to your paid offers as well. And the best thing about Pinterest is the longevity of the content. So I've got a pin on Pinterest still getting saved every day from August last year. It's done nearly a year and it's still going. If I posted that on Instagram, it would last a few hours, 24 most, and then it would be done. So Pinterest is really good for that. And then same as SEO, so getting yourself ranking on Google. Again, like if you rank at the top, you could be there for years and constantly get that flow of traffic. So that's why those 4 platforms in particular are the ones that I'm a really big fan of.
Yeah, and you've got an incredible workshop coming up on that as well. So I'll make sure that that's linked in the show notes, because it's so refreshing to have an online marketer that talks about that longevity of content rather than just the quick wins. And it's the balance of the both, isn't it? It's like you've got to constantly be bringing in new eyes, but you've also got to have that work smarter for you as well, which I love as well. So the last question I just wanted to ask you is like, what's next for your business and your growth? Like, where do you see your business evolving?
So I find, as a manifesting generator, I find this really hard to answer. Like, I know a few things I want to do next, but then I know for a fact at some point I'm going to go, no, I'm not vibing with that anymore. I'm vibing with this more. But in general, like, think something that I know for sure is Social Success Lounge. Is my memberships, my baby. I'm obsessed with it. It's definitely something that I want to spread far and wide. It's a great community, it's a great price, the support is like next level, and it could change hundreds, thousands of people's lives. So I know for sure that's really important to me. Another thing I want to do as part of the business is, again, I have no idea what this looks like, is some kind of charity or foundation, don't know what I would call it, for helping kids who are like me, who failed school, not because they're dumb. Like, I
Yeah,
wasn't a stupid kid. I was smart. I'm very smart, but I
yeah,
didn't have the right support system at home, and just wasn't interested. Like,
yeah,
it's like I knew from there when I was a teenager, like, this is bullshit. I don't need this. And I know there's loads of kids that don't have the right support, fail school because they don't have the right support, but they're not stupid. They've got talent to give to the world. So I kind of want something where it supports those kids who can't go to college, can't go to
yeah.
uni, to either do a startup or support them
Yeah,
through
like
uni.
some sort
I
of
don't know.
entrepreneurial element. Oh my God, yeah, I've got my stepson would be perfect for this. So he like again, just like completely failed by the schooling system in that there's nothing there that really, and school really doesn't set kids up for the future, because the future is AI, it's like VR, it's everything is going to be online at some point. So even like my daughter, who's like a massive creative, she's an artist, her school has like a whole art block which has lots of different mediums and all the things, but they don't do digital art. And I'm like, how is, like, at what point in the future when she wants to go out and get a career is she going to be sitting there with fucking pastels and like a notepad? Like it's just not equipping them for the skills that they need for the future. Now Taylor would be amazing at like, I imagine, like video editing, and could really set up a business where he could edit videos for YouTube, or he could run people's socials, because he lives and breathes the online space, and it's about like recognizing that little bit of talent and putting it into a usable skill where they could then also, you know, create their own income.
Yeah, because lots of people, I think they don't even know what's possible for them. So when I was at school, we were told, so I left, when did I leave school? 2011. So I was really that generation where we had like the best of both worlds. Social media was like rumbling as we were like coming out of school, but we also had that balance where we still went and knocked on each other's doors and was like, yeah, I'll meet you halfway, all that kind of stuff. We had a really nice balance. But I was told by teachers, you won't be able to get a job on social media. You won't have a calculator in your pocket when you leave school. You won't have this, you
Yeah,
won't have that. Mate, I've got the world in my pocket now.
yeah,
But we're not taught that at school. So it's like recognizing the other opportunities. Like, I've got friends who are like really good graphic designers, but have never done anything with the skill. They're now thinking about it because they're watching me. But I'm like, mate, you could be like in Hollywood editing movies and all sorts,
yeah,
but they never even tell you that at school. So not even like going off to be an entrepreneur, but like what other careers are out there. I feel like you're kind of told, boys, you know, you might be an electrician, a plumber, a roofer, something like that. Girls, you're going to go do hair and beauty, social
yeah,
care, childcare, something like that. Or you're going to work in an office. Like, that's kind of what the past that is
yeah,
shown. And I'm like, just, it's a big, 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 big world out there now. So I
yeah,
want to, yeah, kids, whether they want to go get a good job and go to uni, or they actually quite fancy the entrepreneurship journey, I'd love to have some kind of charity foundation, whatever it is, that supports those kids. Like, that's really important to me. So those are the things that I know for sure that I want to happen.
yeah.
Um,
God,
but
that
I'm
would be
sure
incredible.
there'll be lots of different important to me. And I resonated with something you said earlier when you were like, you're a coach second.
Yeah,
And I've always said to people that I'm not the marketing girl. Like, that's not what I want to be known for. Like, I'm not just I'm so much more than that. Like, I really want a podcast, but I don't want it to be an extension of your business lounge. It's
yeah,
an extension of me.
yeah.
So those are like the other things as well that are kind of in true manifest and generator style, rumbling in the background, like all the different, you know, routes that I'm
Marinating.
going to take. Yeah, because I'm so much more than just marketing. I feel like lots of people who start a business or become an entrepreneur, they then like consume that as their whole identity. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm more than this.
100%. Yeah, and absolutely, that's very true to your energy type, in that it's like you could have lots of different passions, but also you know, take what you need from one experience, one season of your business, and then really create something unique over here, which just really gives me life as an entrepreneur to see incredible, like, fresh, innovative offers, services, containers, and leaders. stepping forward. Like that's what really does it for me. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I've never heard anybody say any of that stuff before. That feels really exciting. So honestly, thank you so much for your time. I'm so conscious. Like this is probably my longest podcast episode ever, because I was just so excited to chat with you and really get your view on like trends and just, you know, work ethic and all the things. I knew we'd have so much to talk about, and I am, you know, I'm just so excited to be able to witness your growth on the sidelines and be championing you as well. And I'm, you know, so excited for all of your potential clients that are going to be coming to you, and because I know they're in super safe hands, and that you're going to really enable them to build a business that is sustainable and scalable, and, you know, something really unique, which is exciting. So if anybody wants to find you, your Instagram handle is Your Business Lounge, isn't it? Is that the best place to find you right now?
It is the best place to find me, yeah.
Fantastic. And you've got a incredible workshop, which I'm actually thinking about myself because Pinterest is something that is like I have an awareness of, I have an understanding of, but I would love to know how to utilize that better. So I would actively encourage anybody that's listening to jump into that 2-day workshop, because genuinely this is like that legacy building, brand building, omnipresence that I always talk about. And it's the smartest way to leverage your time and energy is by being everywhere and really getting the most out of everything that you're creating. So I would absolutely encourage everybody to run over to there and invest in that. I'll get the links and stuff so I can pop it in the show notes too. But just thank you so much for being so gracious and so generous with your time and your expertise. I know you'll be supporting a lot of the women that are listening right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.